Thought we'd take a quick look at this. I don't know how quick this thing is going to wind up coming together for paint under here. The undercarriage of this car is going to be painted. This is the 67 Dodge Dart, in case you're not up to speed. But I thought I'd take a quick shot at it now while you can see the work that's been done before it's all one color. The car's going to be purple, and he wants the entire floors painted. They plan on driving the car. Myself, I would not recommend painting all that if it's a car that's going to be driven, because, I mean, if you're going to drive it, you're going to get chips and stuff on it. Myself, if I was doing it, I would box line the bottom of it. And nowadays, I'm sure, maybe you know, maybe you don't, you can get tintable box liner, which is, you know, basically that rubbery, plasticky shit you put in the box of your truck, and the stuff comes a really translucent, creamy color, and you add a certain percentage of color. And I mean, the shit comes out 90% of the body color. So you would still have the color and you would have the protection, you know, of it being box lined. But anyways, there's been a reasonable amount of work done here. Starting up at the front, I put one of these lower, whatever the hell that's called, ties the rad support idea front cradle together. I don't know why that thing is made out of such steel. Can you see what that's made out of? Like, holy hell. Front aprons are pretty good in this car. I don't understand why, because the rest of this car was just, yeah, well, just, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all, right? As stated before, I did put a full floor in this car. Oh, it's all the black. I did put subframe connectors in it, and the frame rails, there and there and back there in a few spots, they were just bitched right up in the bottom. Tow hooks and stuff, I think, from, you know, toward the access holes. And actually what all these holes that you see in frames, if you're looking and you see all these kinds of holes in the bottoms of your frame, those are, 90% of those are for locating jigs. When they build the car, they set all the panels, they all get set on a table, and there's pins go into all those holes, and it locates all these pieces. So that's how they put these cars together from the factory. That's how they're able to take all these 287 pieces that make up everything from front to back on these cars, and locate them all, locate every one of these cars the same, and then weld them all together. They put them on a table, pins go into those holes, doink, 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 and yeah, it's like a jig, puts the thing together, they weld her up. But anyways, so I repaired the bottoms of the rails, cut them out, got some fairly thick steel, welded her in there, cleaned the welds up. There's no more access holes in the bottoms, but you're never going to need them anymore anyways. The fronts up there weren't bad. If you're doing one of these cars, pay attention, because at these cradle holes where the front K-member bolts in, just about every one of these cars I've seen, they crack there. So just check that if you're doing one of these cars. Subframe connectors. They were a bummer. All that black, that's a Taiwanese floor. I mean, everything's Taiwanese nowadays, so that's what you get. So between the Taiwanese floor and then the subframe connectors being, yeah, you know, pretty close. I put a few sets of these connectors in, made by the same manufacturer. It's like no two are exactly the same, and you'd think they would be, because I don't believe that they're laser cut. I think they're stamped out and then they're bent, but I mean, there is discrepancies in them. So to get them to fit, I mean, I was in areas like that, I was grinding and grinding. I mean, in some spots when I first put that up there was a ½ an inch between the connector and the floor. Now that's not all the connector, because I will guarantee you that Chinese floor pan is a reasonable facsimile of a Dodge floor pan. It ain't gonna be, don't bet your mother's false teeth that it's exactly what you're looking for. Anyways, I mean, to get things to fit up decently, it takes some work. I mean, even you can see some of the gap down there around that hump down there to the floor, what are you going to do? You can spend 100 hours adding steel to it to fill the gaps up. But I mean, if you're paying, I mean, if it was my car, I still wouldn't do it, whatever. And if you're paying somebody to do it, do you want to pay him to sit there and whittle around to do that just to fill that gap? Because it's not going to add any more strength to it. It's just going to be cosmetics. The owner has done the leaf spring relocation to move them inboard to the frame rail. There's also a gizmo back there, and then that Hujimajar up there. And then they've mini tubbed it. They've added probably about 3 inches maybe of width in there, so they can put the big get the big donuts in the back. And then yeah, the bottom of the spare tire. Well, of course, these things all rot out there. But yeah, I just thought I would give you an eyeball. That's what's cooking under there. Pretty soon, might be just a matter of days, and that'll all be purple under there. I'll paint that before I finish off the body on the top. Paint under there, paint in there. Then once it's all painted, the owner takes it home, and up there goes the 440, an automatic transmission, most likely an 8 3/4 inch rear end will be back there. And stainless steel exhaust, and fancy this, and new that, and hardware, and a blah, 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 blah. But anyways, I think that'll do it here. I just thought I would give you a shot of that. It's going to be a pretty damn sturdy car. I've done this before in other darts. I think maybe one was a Duster. And once you've done all this work to it, when this thing is sitting on the ground, you can put a jack on one corner back there, and it winds up lifting that whole car up pretty evenly. That takes all the twist, anything out of that body whatsoever. It really makes it rigid. And I mean, now the thing is just one great big chunk of iron just waiting to burn wubba. Burn wubba, they say. So there it is. That's the bottom. There's the floors. There's the aprons. Yeah, that's about it. There's all the crap I did in the last video. Doors, fenders, hoods, trunks, assorted paraphernalia. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, thought I'd give you a shot of that. And there it is. Until next time, cheers. Cut.